how did you get in here? That was definitely, there was a older lady that asked that question. And she was respectful about it. She said, son, I know we have a security guard up front. How did you get back here? So that told me I really...
All right. Howdy, friends. Welcome to another edition of Origin Stories here on Success from Day One. I'm Super Dave Quinn, and I am at the Texas Economic Development Council's annual conference here in San Antonio, and have the pleasure of sitting down with Mr. Jerry Jones Jr. from Pflugerville now. So, Jerry, welcome to the show. Tell us a little bit about who you are. Tell us, one, your title, your name, and then let's dive into how you got into economic development.
Sure. Jerry Jones, Economic Development for Pflugerville Community Development Corporation, serve as the executive director there, which is right outside of Austin, Texas. Yeah. And so I guess my story starts really in college. Okay. Believe it or not, I was looking for I'm a poli-sci grad from Southern University in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. And I was looking for a internship down at the state capitol. Okay. And I walked each and every floor that I could looking for a job. And I mean, I had printed out a bunch of resumes on my card, on my university card that you can use at the library to print out stuff. I had maxed it out, okay, printing out for this one-page resume that said pretty much
the ticket's going to get
nothing, right? Yeah. So I get there and I go through the entire floor of the state capitol, right, that I was allowed to get to. Yeah. And it was no. And I get over to the annex building and I start going through the doorways, and it was all about, well, who do you know and who sent you? And
how did you get in here?
How did you get in here? That was definitely, there was a older lady that asked that question. And she was respectful about it. She said, son, I know we have a security guard up front. How did you get back here? So that told me I really wasn't supposed to be back there. And so I came out and I just flung the rest of the resumes in the trash can out front. There was a lady smoking a cigarette out front of the place. I'm sure she can't do that today. But there was a lady smoking a cigarette and she saw me fling the resumes in the trash can and she said, son, what's wrong with you? I said, I can't get an internship here. Everybody wants to know who I know, or I'm not supposed to be here. And so she said, well, pick one of those resumes out of the trash can and come with me. And so we went back into a hallway that I did not go down. And she stood in the hallway. She's like, I got a young man who's looking to intern. And both of them came out and it started there. Turns out it was the Louisiana Economic Development organization for the state, and I started out putting new computers in everybody's offices.
Whatever it takes.
Craziest thing ever. And so I ended up taking that opportunity, and one of the people that really inspired me to get into economic development was Mike Olivier. And he always used to, he was the former secretary of economic development in Louisiana. And he would always say, if Jerry's doing a great job, it was all because I inspired him to be in economic development. If he's doing a bad job, I don't know him.
Spoken like a good politician, right?
But that's what really got me started. I went back to my hometown, Alexandria, and started out working at a business incubator underneath one of my favorite mentors, Joseph P. Page. And literally the rest of it has really become history. Like, it just has taken off after that. So I really got my footing and my start in Louisiana in Baton Rouge. And then my hometown is what really propelled me to really get involved in economic development.
So when you were, you're looking for, did you know about economic, did you even know what it was before you started?
I'm laughing before you even get the question.
I think I know the answer to this, but yeah, like
you want
to do what with
you about to really shake your head. So when she was standing, the lady was standing in the hallway, and she said, so this is Louisiana Economic Development. And I said, what? Economic Development? I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, what in the world is this? And so I was like, it's an internship. Shut up and
Just
smile.
say yes. Yeah.
And so I was like, yes. And so that's what really got me started. I didn't even know, to show you what I didn't know, I didn't even know that the building had LED inside of the building.
You didn't know they were even a thing.
I didn't know they were even a thing at that time. So going in there, I would say I didn't really reach the idea or concept of what LED was until one day I walked into a meeting that I was not supposed to be in, and for some strange reason, one of the supervisors at that time just literally said, "Be quiet, sit down up against this wall, and don't say a word." I'm a computer guy.
You're just
right. Yeah. I'm just putting, which I wasn't that good at. Okay, let's go on and tell the truth.
You're probably younger than everybody else though, so you probably look.
I was a little bit ahead of the rest, right? So, but I literally sat there and I didn't say a word, and I just listened to how they were talking about projects, and it literally just took off. That thought process of, hey, you're creating something that is going to be here or have a positive effect on generations to come.
Yeah.
That really is what spurred me, and it started in that room of seeing that type of interaction.
But these things don't just happen. Like, there's a little bit of work that happens on the backside. Maybe a lot of work that happens on the back.
Yes.
I mean, so it sounds like too that it's that impact, and I truly believe that we don't. We obviously didn't get in this for the money.
No.
Right? That's a public servant. It pays okay, don't get me wrong.
It does. I'm not complaining, by the way. I don't
It does pay the bills. We're okay with that. But it's not something it's not like owning a business where you're going to get, build a wealth empire or whatever. There's a greater cause there and I love that about our industry is we're in a room that 20 years from now, somebody's going to look up and go, man, I'm glad that happened. I don't know how it happened. We probably are not going to be involved in that. They're not going to remember who did it.
Correct.
But that moment matters so much out into the future that, I love that part about our industry.
There's two things I always say that I've learned, and I've been in it now for 15 years. So there's two things I've learned that just stick with me. People don't care what you know until they know you care. The moment they know you care about their community and about them, you can pretty much tell them anything, but they need to know that you care first. Right. And when I was younger in economic development, I was all about getting in front of a camera and taking pictures. No one could out-pose when it came to cutting ribbons and shoveling dirt on a project. All teeth would be showing, just a smiling, right? Yeah. Now I absolutely hate taking pictures. I will actually take the picture for you. I don't want to be in front of the camera. It's not really my thing anymore. Right. And what really gets me, and I mean it gets me teary-eyed at times, is I can be in a grocery store. You're not going to do that. I can be in a grocery store and I can see a kid ask their parent for something. And the parent says yes because they have the disposable income to do it.
Isn't that awesome?
That is what means more to me today in this time period. Being able to see parents be able to look at their children and say, I can afford this because I have disposable income in order to do this thing for my child. Those things are what matters. And that's really the story of who we are as economic developers. We are convening and putting the right people in the rooms in order to see a project come to life and truly, in a positive way, affect the communities that we're doing it in.
Yeah, man, I love that. Golly, that's good, man. I love it.
Yeah, you ought to see me in the grocery store. I'm like, where are the onions? Golly.
All right, so great backstory. I love that. It's exactly what we're open to kind of learn. Let's give our audience, new economic developers coming in. They find themselves stumbled into the room, trying to figure out what it is they're supposed to be doing. What would you tell them? Your years. Now, tell me again. How many years ago are we talking?
15.
Okay. All right. It's been a minute. So After
I used to
15
walk
years,
in and I was the youngest person in the room.
I know. I remember when I was the kid here, right?
Yes.
And I'm looking around and people are like, "Now, who are you again?" Like,
Right.
What?
Now I'm getting
Oh my
called
gosh.
sir.
Yes. It's like I must dye my hair. Or
That's
something.
exactly what I said I wanted to do.
All right. So, what would you give a young person who's coming into the industry? They've stumbled into their first job. They're just trying to figure out what are we even doing. What's something that you would give them, a piece of knowledge or something you've learned that has been foundational for you in your career?
Seek mentorship, and when I say seek mentorship, people see someone walking down the hallway at a conference and just says, "Oh, that person looks like they're talking about. I want them to be my mentor." No, follow that person and really see what they're all about.
Yeah.
And then seek conversations to just grab coffee or what have you. And when we say grab coffee, there's ways of doing that. You don't necessarily have to be at the person's space in the room with them. You might just have an Uber Eats send them a cup of coffee, and you have a Zoom call with them, and get to know that person first. I always tell people, anyone that you take advice from, you are signing up to at least in some degree or some way take on their life.
Yeah.
Because they didn't just give everybody else advice and not follow their own, right?
Yeah.
So
it's their perspective, what they've learned, what they've got.
Right, which has shaped them, right?
Yeah.
And so you need to really make sure that that's the person that you want to emulate. For me, I took a gentleman's resume, and when I say his name, you're going to start laughing. His name is Ronnie Bryant. Ronnie Bryant he was in Charlotte, USA was the name of the organization. And I found his resume. To this day, I do not know how I found his resume, but I found it online. And I followed his resume to a T and tried to, even in the time, like if he did a OUEDI in 3 years, I was trying to do it in a year and a half. It was really in competition with somebody who didn't even know I existed. Okay, so take mentorship seriously. Try to identify people and walk in the room and learn the people in the room first before you go saying, because it worked over here, it should work over there. That does not work, especially in what I'm learning, especially in Texas. You cannot take something that may have worked in Richmond, Texas, and then come trying to apply it to Pflugerville. These communities are different. They have different stories. They have different backgrounds. They have different, even the climates are different. I mean, literally.
You would think they're not, right? Different.
It's drastically different. And, one of the things I really do appreciate that I've learned about even Texas, these communities, especially what I would call the old heads who've been around for a long time, they remember what it looked like in their communities before we all showed up. And I just feel like we as newcomers could be just a little bit more respectful in how we regard something that they have been able to care about much longer than we've been able to walk around in.
Yeah. I love that.
And so those are the things I would definitely tell the newcomers, as my grandmother would say, the youngins.
Yes.
Show just a little bit of regard for the folks who
they've done a little thing or two, right?
Yeah. They know they obviously know what they're doing. They've been around long enough to either make the appropriate mistakes or the appropriate right moves.
Right. So that's another good one. I remember I got hired. Nobody knew who I was, and the city manager knew I didn't know what I was doing. He's like, "Look, go spend time with this organization, and anytime they're doing something, I'm giving you permission. Just do it." And he said, "But the qualification was ask questions." And I did. I rented cars. I drove people around. I was their Uber before Uber, and said, the only qualification is you can get my car, but I'm going to ask you 1,000 questions.
Bingo.
I sit next to them on buses, on planes, traveled the world, and that is where my education really came from. Was, okay, I made a mistake, don't do that. Okay, I follow that around. Right? Okay. And to what you're talking about of the perceptions of everything else, why is it working here but not here? The only thing that's different is people. Right? Streets, water, sewer, streets, water, sewer. So what's the difference?
People.
It's the people and the perceptions and what they care about and their passions. And so that's I think a really good tip of being careful about saying, well, I did it over here, so I'm going to be able to do it in my next town.
That is a tragic fall. I've seen it happen so many times. But people are the difference. That's where it's at. That's why whenever I ask folks who do strategic plans, how important is it for you to get into the community and talk to the people? Because the strategic plan coordinator or creator, they're not solving the problem. The solution to any problem in any community rests within that community.
Yeah.
The people.
Yeah.
That's the solution. And it's all the strategic plan guy or lady is doing is really just writing down what you are saying needs to be done. That's the solution. So now let's talk about an implementation plan on how you guys can solve your own problems.
I feel like we do so much work, and they're expecting us to come in and say, okay, you'll do X, Y, and Z, and you're going to be great. And I'm like, if you're looking for me to do answers, I'm here to organize y'all's thoughts into into a format that allows you now to see the problem and solve it.
Bingo.
Not solve it for you. Now I have some suggestions. I have a lot of, I have some experience. But at the end of the day, I'm going home.
Correct.
Right?
And you're going to be here.
Right? You're the guy that's going to have to see the people in the grocery store and like that and all, that sort of thing. So, man, that's another good tip. Well, Jerry, thank you so much. We appreciate you being here. Thanks for stopping by. I know you got a lot of stuff to do here and education
Thank
to be
you
a
for
part
having
of.
me.
So,
I'm excited. Look, I've seen your videos, a lot of them. I've watched them. And so, jokingly, I was like, well, one day I guess I'll get a chance to get on there. And
I'm so glad you did.
I know, this is great. Great.
Thanks, Jerry.
Thank you for what you're doing in the profession,
Thank
too.
you. I really appreciate that.